Okay, great. Thank you. If anyone wants to come sit at the table, feel free. Table's a nice place to be. And yeah, thank you so much for coming. So this is going to be a little bit of a schizophrenic presentation for me. I'll be speaking with my two different hats. My Institute for the Future hat, where I'm a research affiliate, and as the executive director of the Global Lives Project, which is a different organization. So let me start out just by pushing a brand new project. We've just launched this, digitalopen.org, open source science fair for youth all over the world. Age 17 and under can submit projects. They can be hardware, software, media, art, community, environment. They just have to be under open source or open content licenses, and we've got tons of prizes. So that's the new thing that I'm not actually going to talk about here. So the real thing that I'm here to start talking about, section 1 of my person, again, is with the Institute for the Future. So about 6 months ago, we started this project called The Future of Video, Becoming People of the Screen. And the Institute for the Future is an organization started in 1968, and we do research about long-term trends. We think of the 5 to 10, occasionally the 50-year time horizon, and we make forecasts. We don't do predictions, but we think about what is up and coming and what's new and interesting. So I'm going to start out by showing you a series of different forecasts that we came up with. There's a team of us researchers. And we put together a lot of ideas. We brought in outside experts. And then I'm going to talk specifically about video and social change and the future in that area. And then after that, I'm going to switch over to talking about the Global Lives Project. So I'm going to start out by showing I'm going to show this video that we did.
Dinner in 10 minutes.
So this was obviously a future scenario of what video technologies might look like and do for us. Again, put together by some of my excellent colleagues. So what I can show you now is some of the forecasts that we put together, and a lot of this is work in progress. It's unpublished material. But so the first forecast here is video tsunami. Really the idea that video information is dwarfing all other media. I'm sure all of you have seen these statistics. By 2013, video will be 90% of all internet traffic. It's really taking over in terms of our content streams, our data streams, and also our mental streams, what's in front of our eyes in our day-to-day existence. So found in translation, really the idea is that video is going to be a part of every communication strategy for every individual, organization, corporation that you can think of. And these are some Link TV and Current, which have particularly innovative sort of video 2.0 presences, you might say. So the facade, video technologies can transform inert surfaces into interactive venues. And again, this is in the 5 to 10 year time frame that we're thinking about, but walls all around us will really have new properties and new applications. So montage for the masses, remix and participatory video culture enters the mainstream. So the technologies that are only accessible at the highest tech levels will start to diffuse. And you saw the facial recognition software being used there by a wife to track her husband. The whole world is making. So user-made video is a transformative political tool. The whole idea of producers and consumers, or producers and viewers of media, will really disappear. It'll be really difficult to have that dichotomy in the future. So swimming upstream, real-time video enables networked live streams. This is a trend that I'm sure all of you are seeing, but this is only going to move further, that our entire lives are videotaped. And hopefully some of you have seen the great Onion video of the dorm room fire, but that gives a great example of that. The Susan Boyle effect, video culture encourages bottom-up creativity. So a person can really instantly be transformed from no one to the most famous in the world, and that creates a sort of new set of standards for what any individual might think in terms of what their career path might entail. So re-educating our senses, media becomes an integrated sensory experience. So you saw the different gestural interfaces, and we think those are extremely important. And I'll show you some more slides of those. And again, this is just summing up. I'm going to zip through so I make sure I have time for everything I want to present. But those are all the, the different forecasts that I just presented to you. So specifically in the area of technology, this is some great work that was done by one of my coworkers. And I'm going to switch to a different format called Prezi. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Prezi, but hopefully I'll get it to show up on my screen. I don't know. Oh, here we go. And so this is a piece that we did to explain the different areas specifically of technological transformations in the next 5 to 10 years with video. Again, this was done by one of my coworkers, so I'm not as familiar with the content as he would be if he were presenting it. But so it starts with creation. So animation, cameras and capture, CCD, that's the technologies for capturing light and transforming it, computer-generated imagery, creation, production, editing, effects, interaction design, motion capture, optics, post-production, processors and composers, rendering, and storyboarding software. These are areas that will be key hotspots of technological innovation in the video field that you're likely to really start to see very different things. I'm just going to mirror here so I can make this better. Yeah, that was what I had fun. And sorry. So then collection is another really interesting part of the future of video technology again. So archiving, indexing, and metadata are areas that we see a lot of big transformations coming forward. And then the management of these large collections becomes a really big issue. Then recognition and analysis of video, major advances in that kind of technology. Video search, I think a lot of you have seen a number of the different applications, not just searching for in the subtitles or the closed captions, but searching with facial recognition, searching with speech recognition, etc. Then again, video server technology is going to have huge advances. So displays, this is another really interesting area. The form factors of the displays that we're using will definitely increase the number of displays in our lives. OLEDs, I think everyone is familiar with the organic LED technology that allows you to see great quality video in bright daylight. Projectors and pico projectors, everyone being able to carry around a tiny little projector, maybe built into your cell phone. Playback and display software is a really huge and interesting area, especially on mobile devices. 3D video is another one. A lot of people have probably been through a couple of 3D video experiences in their lives in theaters. Sort of viewpoint independent 3D video is a really interesting one, and then 3D video without any glasses or any special technology is something that we'll definitely be seeing in the next 5 to 10 years in consumer formats. Yeah. And then finally, distribution. So aggregators, libraries, e-stores for video, these are major places where there are going to be innovation. Coding, codecs, and compression, there's a lot of talk about that here. I don't need to go into too much detail. Distribution, networks, routers, and switches. So these are a couple more detailed forecasts. So basically every mobile device in the next 5 to 10 years that people are using will have these video capabilities, and not only the ability to shoot, but the ability also, as people have seen on the newest iPhone, to edit, and also again full HD. So teleimmersive environments for 3D telepresence, this is a really interesting one, and you can only, if people are willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars today for this technology, you can only imagine what value it's presenting to the organizations that are investing in that. Really shifts the way that collaboration can take place. So personalized TV viewing, anywhere, any place, anytime, is another one, again, with gestural interactions with the televisions. TV in your contact lenses. This is a pretty weird and freaky one,
Yeah.
and it's real, and it will be available for sure. And then I'm just going to show a couple little videos here. So these are the major trends in this technology area. We're talking about going from scarcity to abundance of digital video.
The videos icon. You can also stream media.
You know, we're talking about not just hundreds or thousands, but hundreds of thousands of channels, options. The whole notion of a channel really fades away. There's really no need to channel surf when you zip to what you're watching. Then moving from passive to hyperlinked interactive video. Now this is something that's pretty interesting with the HTML5 formats, but it's not fully developed in any way. YouTube now has a few little ways you can put hyperlinks in different points in video, but this is an area where we will no longer come to assume that video is a linear format in the way it is today. Obviously there's no more rewinding, but you know, much further in terms of clicking around links in and throughout videos. Then again, from keypad to gestural and tangible interaction. This is from Obscura Digital, which is a video production house in San Francisco that specializes in doing crazy events and demonstrations of new video technologies. And so you can see these people are interacting, just gestural interfaces with these screens, moving things around, playing video, etc. And then again, from limited to ubiquitous video technology, this is just an example of a bendable display technology, and we're going to see a lot more of these types of things. And you can only imagine, you know, a display on the back of your dog, or you know, wherever you want, you can put a video display. So then finally, this is the last one. So from camera capture to synthetic CG video, this is another really important one. The whole ability to say, oh, you know, that's real or that's not real, that was computer generated, that wasn't, that fades away, which is really both interesting and kind of scary. Oh yeah, and then again from 2D immersive to HD, 4K HD, and then 3D video. So 4K HD is on the Red camera now, and it's something that will be really prominent in the future. And then again, this is an example of 3D computer-generated video interactions. So I'm just gonna. Oh yeah, this is a really cool. This is an MIT demo of Sixth Sense. It's a wearable gestural interface, and so you see what this guy is doing. He wears these finger things, and he's wearing a pico projector. So he's interacting with images on a wall that are being projected by the projector that he's wearing on himself. So maybe some of you have already seen these. So that's the projector. It's hanging around his neck, and it's got a mirror interacting and seeing what his fingers are doing. So that's that set of technology forecasts. I'll see if I can shift gears and move back now to the forecast. So this is the area that I was researching. I call it the camera is mightier than the king. So video in the future, political change. So you know, we really used to express our radical ideas through text. It was kind of the only option we had out there. You see the Magna Carta from 1200s. Martin Luther putting up his theses, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights with Eleanor Roosevelt here. So text was the medium by which major social change was really accomplished, expressed, etc. So now, increasingly today, we really express political ideas through video. You know, this is perhaps one of the first, most famous videos that really changed the course of history. You know, had this man not been protected in a certain sense by video cameras, things probably would have turned out differently. And still today, there's debate about who he was and what was going on. Probably recognize Rodney King here, that incident, and Oscar Grant being shot by bar trained police in San Francisco. So, you know, video in this sense really empowers individuals, carrying the camera, again, mightier than the tank. So the big questions to think about are what new powers exactly does video confer, and to whom? What constitutes video authority? Whose version is accurate, and how do we know? So this is an artifact from the future that we came up with. We like to do these at the Institute. So this is, you know, a clip from, say, a newspaper article. It's a reality check. Sensorial data for this article was provided by the following on-scene participants. Times ID Swansea, swansea.myreality.net. It was geocoded video, and so we see the details of where that video came from, geocoded metadata, etc. Again, this is a tool for establishing veracity in video specifically for human rights types of situations. And again, this is a forecast. So moving forward, systematic gathering of content. We really see Witness's Hub as a real bellwether of change there. Burma VJ is a movie that just came out, footage from Burma smuggled out, assembled in Denmark, and that made a huge impact. But another important part is not just the assembly and the collection of the content, but new levels of literacy and storytelling in the medium itself. So Video Voice New Orleans is a project that put video cameras into the hands of post-Katrina New Orleans residents and asked them to tell their story. It empowered them in significant ways to deal with public health issues in their city. Channel 19 is an initiative of video volunteers in India. It refers to Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights about media. So then public policy engagement, again, is another really interesting area. So the YouTube presidential debates, again, that's something that we really have to think about what that meant. Shortly after that, O'Reilly hosted a Government 2.0 conference. What is Government 2.0? What is the role of video in that? How do citizen interactions with political representatives through video really change the face of our societies? So that, again, is pretty much summing it up. I had a few clips here I was going to show, but again, Witness, I can't say enough great things about what they're doing. This is a little bit of Burma VJ, which you should all check out. And then this is a wall recording the victims of violence post-Katrina. So I don't have enough time to go as deep as I wanted into all of those. But and then we finally set up a website called peopleofthescreen.org for our research on this project, which was pretty exciting. It's still moving forward. It's going to be up for probably another 6 months. We're playing with it. We decided, what if we set up a website by which we could research video collaboratively through video itself. And this was with the Kaltura platform on Drupal. And so I'll show part of this little video here. If Kaltura will cooperate with me.
Because I'm more important than anything else in my
So that gives you a little bit of an idea, but if you want to see more of that, you can check out peopleofthescreen.org and the work we did there. So that that's the end of my Institute for the Future Hat presentation. If I guess I could take questions about that if anyone has. Yeah, go ahead.
So if it's going to be a tool for political change as it always is, or as it already is, do you guys see it more reliable than, is it going to be photoshopped, I guess is the question.
Yeah, I think tools for establishing veracity in video are a real key thing, both for nonprofits that are doing human rights work to work on, and also I think it's going to be a part of industry basically to figure out how you can determine whether something was real, whether it was and photoshopping goes to for political purposes has a long history, long before Photoshop, to Russian propaganda stuff, having people excised from images, etc. So I think that it's something that will develop, and whoever figures out how to establish veracity, verify the rawness of a video stream will definitely be a huge hit. Yeah.
I have a question. One of the things you were talking about was ubiquity video, and I always have such a suspicion about that, because I feel that there's so little research done in developing countries outside of Africa, and bandwidth issues and things going on with video, because, even if you take a tally of people who have actually submitted videos today alone in the States, I can bet you a lot of people have not today. But most people have submitted photos, and this is in the States. In Guatemala, I think about that, and Central America and other countries, that, you don't have data plans, you don't have the bandwidth, you can barely submit photos. So when you talk about ubiquity, how much research are you doing with developing nations and addressing that form?
Yeah, so this is why I don't only work at the Institute for the Future and I have a different hat personally. I think that when we do this research about the future, sorry, what's that?
We're just I was just saying, like, I just feel like sometimes in video that's not addressed.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like,
I mean,
you
I
know, we
think.
had like one guy from Brazil today. And
Uh-huh.
it's like, it was such a, it was wonderful.
And the
to see.
Nigerian wasn't there. I don't know what happened. I was really sad.
I mean,
But no, I think that the asymmetry, the digital divide, etc., I mean, are great things. Michael Neymar is a professor at USC who has a great article from 2002, I think, about asymmetrical bandwidth and how our entire structures of data transfer are extraordinarily skewed towards the receiving of content, and that turns us into almost passive consumers. I don't like that term, consumers, for myself or for anyone, because I think we all do have agency in the choices that we make of what to put in front of our eyes. I personally am working right now, thinking through sort of the ideas of Henri Lefebvre, the French philosopher who conceptualizes space in the same way that Marx conceptualizes the commodities and commodity fetishism. So I think that Henri Lefebvre's ideas about space and the construction of space, distances and the relativity of distance are extraordinarily relevant to pixels. And I think that pixels and photons that enter our eyes are a result of power structures that are constructed deliberately to control and maintain us in our societies. And that's how I feel about it.
Wow.
But so one of my coworkers at the Institute for the Future truly believes that we are all living a simulation at this very moment. So I mean, it's an exciting one. So does anyone have any more questions about this section? Yeah.
Are you going to be? When are you going to be sharing those sort of more of the forecasts? How are you sharing them with people to help? Well, how proprietary is your information going to be? It seems like it's really relevant to people, but I'm wondering how your sharing process works. If we share with you, what do you share with us?
Yeah, definitely. So everything on the People of the Screen website is under the Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike license. So all of the, I'm in the process of putting up the interviews that I did for the project with about 8 people, and those are going into that license. And then everything that anyone else submits also stays in that license. And that's one of the most permissive or open of the Creative Commons licenses. The research conclusions that we have are not public yet. They will become public domain, no license at all, over the course of the next 6 months to a year. It's kind of like how TED releases their information in a staggered way. But yeah, all of this will go public domain, so don't even need to attribute it to us eventually. So, anything else? Yeah.
Yeah. Is any of the research being done on the psychological or emotional or just social effects of so much human interaction happening through screens that are different?
Yeah, there was a great guy who gave a talk. I'm trying to remember his name. I think he's a professor at Stanford. He came and gave a talk about a year ago at the Institute. But he's been doing a lot of research about counseling and psychotherapy through virtual reality interfaces, and they're doing a lot of work with juvenile delinquents, putting them into VR environments and having their counselors actually enter into and interact with them in an environment not unlike Second Life through avatars, and that's like really fascinating to me. But supposedly they've had great results with that. I'll get the name of that for you later. But I mean,
it can also be alienating and create antisocial beings or people that have a difficult time making real-life associations.
Yeah.
And the iMan has got to be coming too. The Walkman came, so eventually we're how many years away from glasses where you can view your videos from inside your glasses, potentially inside your brain with an implantable chip. You don't have to interact anymore.
No, I try to spend as much time away from computers and screens as I possibly can. So I think it's really it's a really important thing that you don't spend your whole life in front of it. I mean, obviously there's RSI, and then there are all kinds of other disorders like internet addiction syndrome, and think about all the things that happen to people who watch too much TV. But I want to skip.
The wrong crowd.
Yeah. So I want to skip and just briefly talk about the Global Lives Project. So this. So again, that's my other hat. And so Global Lives, the idea, 24 hours, 10 people, 10 different countries, their routines, their tasks, their struggles, their interactions, because really that's the core of how they understand life and how we can understand them. The original idea was just to show all of these live experiences in a video installation, the content of which is the 240 hours of uncut footage of daily human life. What this has grown into, as we've gotten more and more interest from lots of volunteers around the world, and Yashen and Nobuhiro are here today. They're two of our best volunteers. I'm going to show some pictures of both of them, I think, in a bit. So again, we're developing into a video library of human life experience. So the state of affairs, why do this? 38% of young Americans consider speaking another language to be not too important. 89% don't correspond regularly with anyone outside the US, and 88% can't find Afghanistan on a map of Asia. So the situation is dire. So why do this? Really, it's about provoking people to rethink their relationship with the world by inviting them to participate in the lives of others as intimate observers. And it's really at its core about pushing the limits of not only technology, but also of international collaboration as a vehicle for social change. So the first two shoots I helped out with. I'm trained as a sociologist. I was never really trained formally as a filmmaker, but luckily I had some great people who worked with me. So do shoots with James, the cable car driver in San Francisco, and Hayal, the hip-hop singer in Sao Paulo. The third shoot was one that Yashen did, and Yashen has asked me not to make her talk in front of all of you, but she and Jason Price, who was at the time just ending his affiliation with NYU, went off to Malawi and collaborated with some Malawian producers as well, and put together this proposal, circulated it in our collective, and we approved it, and we gave them some funding to go out and do this shoot. Not much funding at all, but they did it, and that's Yashen there. In Malawi, capturing 24 hours of Edith's life on video. And Edith's a 13-year-old junior high school student there. She goes to get water in the mornings. So this is Elio Ishii. He's a really important member of the Global Lives collective, and he's Japanese-Brazilian. And after being one of the co-directors of the Brazil shoot that we did, he said to me, David, I'm going to Japan. Do you know anyone in Japan who would do a shoot with me? And so I said, sure, I'm sure we can find someone. I didn't know a soul in Japan. But I wrote this email, and I said, do you know a filmmaker or photographer in Japan interested in social change? And I sent it to everyone I knew who'd even been to Asia. And then 2 days later, I got this back. I was told it's a very good translation. Somehow it got to Nobuhiro, who is right there. Did you get it in Japanese or English?
English.
Okay, so you didn't translate it though? No, okay. So anyhow, we posted it all over the web. We posted it in English and Japanese. We said we're looking for co-producer, director, camera operator, translator, photographer, production assistant. In 10 days we had 20 volunteers. We had to turn people away. We had independent filmmakers, journalists, and 2 universities that we partnered with.
Craigslist?
We did not end up, I think we have used Craigslist at a few points, but not for this one. So Temple University Japan provided all the equipment for production and post-production, and the United Nations University Media Studio gave us some great meeting space and then hosted an installation later. So this is Rumi. She's the subject of the Japan shoot. She uses a wheelchair to get around. She's a Girl Scout troop leader. And then these are some more pictures of our crew. This is a life story interview, which is something that we do the day or the week before the shoot to get context and background. And these are 2 Venezuelan women, Irene and Andreina, who went on to do shoots in China, Lebanon, and organized a shoot in Serbia. And they're Venezuelans who live in Japan. So,
David, can you just comment to the group so they know about how you demographically chose people and regions, because I think that's important.
This is our selection criteria. Perfect. So we decided if we're going to do 10 shoots, they better be good. They better be roughly representative of humankind. So we got some statistics, talked to some demographers and economists and people like that, and we discovered that 59% of the world lives in Asia. So 6 of the 10 will be from Asia, 1 European, 1 North American, 1 South American, 1 African. The world just passed 50% urban, so 5 urban, 5 rural, 5 men, 5 women, actual age, religious, and income distributions of the world. So this is the practical version of that. This is what our spreadsheet looked like about a year ago. The red, which you can't see because of this projector, is the finished shoots. The yellow is shoots in planning and progress, and green is finished. So now we've finished shoots in 9 different countries: Malawi, Japan, China, Indonesia, India, Lebanon, Serbia, the US, and Brazil. And we've got people that want to do way more shoots in way more countries. And we are just trying to build the institutional infrastructure to make this happen. And this is the exhibit as it was designed. We're going to do a slightly different version of this at the Yerba Buena Center for the Arts in San Francisco from February to June of next year. That's going to be our first major long-running installation. It's not going to look exactly like this. We're actually going to be projecting both inside and outside of their building. But the idea of that installation and all our others in the future is really to do a lot of parallel events: guided visits for student groups, a lecture series on world affairs, global citizenship, video production workshops that Yerba Buena Center has asked us to teach high school students from around the San Francisco area how to do these shoots during the 4 months that we're there, and citywide installations to promote the exhibit. These are some of the other locations we're working on. And then again, I'm just going to finish up with some pictures of the website, because that's probably interesting to you guys. And the idea is to relaunch the website by the end of this year, so that anyone, anywhere can upload edited shorts, 5 to 15 minutes of a person's daily life, shot in a 24-hour period, unedited 24-hour shoots, and life stories. We use .sub for collaborative subtitling, which is awesome. If you don't know about it, Michael will tell you all about it. Google Earth, we use GPS loggers to track people where they go in their cities. And again, the idea is to build this growing video library of human life experience that becomes more and more representative of what our world looks like, and becomes an enduring document of the human condition as we move forward. So I think I'm going to stop with this little mock-up here. Again, this is what it looks like. You zoom in, and you get to see one of these people like James. So there you go. That's the end of my talk. Thank you very much.